Look, I'm going to be honest with you. This story made me angry. It made me sad. And by the end, it made me think differently about how I treat people I don't know. Because this is about a woman who walked into a car dealership and got laughed at, mocked, disrespected, all because someone looked at her and made an assumption. But here's the twist. She had $2 billion in her pocket, and she walked out with it. Every single penny. Gone. This is a true story, and I promise you, it's going to stay with you long after this video ends. Let me tell you about a Tuesday afternoon that changed everything. Not just for one person, but for an entire company that had been around for almost a century. It's a story about assumptions, about respect, and about how one moment of judgment can cost you more than you ever imagined. Her name was Jessica Williams, and when she pulled her silver Tesla into the parking lot of Riverside Luxury Motors in downtown Chicago, nobody knew who she was. Not yet, anyway. Jessica sat in her car for a moment, just watching. Through the massive glass windows, she could see salespeople moving around inside like they were performing a carefully rehearsed dance. One guy practically ran to greet an older gentleman in khakis. Another woman was nodding enthusiastically at a couple looking at SUVs. Everyone seemed busy. Everyone seemed engaged. Jessica stepped out her car. The afternoon sun caught her navy blue blazer, the kind you wear to important meetings. Under her arm, she carried a leather folder. Inside that folder were contracts. Big ones. The kind that could change a company's entire year, maybe their entire decade. But here's the thing you need to understand. Jessica hadn't come here just to sign papers. She'd come here to see something that couldn't be measured in spreadsheets or profit margins. She wanted to see how they treated people when they didn't know those people had power. You see, Jessica had built her tech company from absolutely nothing. Started in her college apartment with just a laptop and an idea. Now, her company was worth $8 billion. Yes, billion with a B. She clawed her way up through venture capital meetings where men twice her age told her women didn't understand technology. She'd sat through pitch sessions where investors asked to speak to the real CEO while she was sitting right there in front of them. So Jessica had learned something important. You don't judge a company by their marketing or their promises. You judge them by how they treat people they think don't matter. The automatic door slid open with a soft whisper. Cool air washed over her face, carrying the smell of leather and new cars. The showroom was beautiful. Polished concrete floors, vehicles positioned like works of art, spotlights shining down on them. A red sports car slowly rotated on a platform. Black SUVs lined one wall. And in the back, behind glass partitions, she could see the really expensive cars. The ones that required appointments and background checks just to look at. 3 salespeople stood near the service desk, laughing at something on a phone. Another leaned against a desk, scrolling through his tablet. Jessica walked deeper into the showroom. Her heels clicked against the floor. She passed a young couple discussing financing, past a salesman explaining trunk space to a mother with 2 kids. Nobody looked at her. Not once. She stopped near a silver sedan, right in the middle of the main floor, where anyone paying attention would see her. She waited. 1 minute passed. Then 2. She pulled out her phone, checked her messages. Her team was ready. The lawyers were standing by. The board expected her signature by Friday. Everything was in place. Everything except this moment. This test. Jessica glanced toward the back, where a man in a dark suit stood looking at his computer. His nameplate said, Robert Patterson, Senior Sales Manager. He looked up. Their eyes met. And in that brief second, Jessica watched his expression change. Not toward welcome or customer service. Toward something else entirely. Judgment. Dismissal. Calculation. He grabbed a clipboard and started walking toward her. But his body language said everything. This wasn't the walk of someone greeting a potential customer. This was someone preparing to handle a problem. Robert Patterson had been selling luxury cars for 15 years. He prided himself on reading people fast. The way they walked, what they touched, how long they stayed. Real money moved with purpose. Real buyers asked specific questions. This woman standing by the sedan, she had that look. The one that meant she'd probably seen the cars through the window and got curious. He dealt with this maybe 200 times a year. People who couldn't afford an oil change walking through a showroom like they owned the place, wasting time he could spend earning real commission. Robert checked his watch. He had an appointment in 40 minutes. A tech executive looking to upgrade his wife's Range Rover. That deal was worth his time. This wasn't. Can I help you find something? He didn't smile, didn't extend his hand, just stood there with a clipboard against his chest like a shield. Jessica looked up from her phone. Her face was calm, perfectly calm. Yes, she said. I'm interested in your executive fleet program. Robert almost laughed out loud. Fleet program? He glanced past her, checking if maybe she was with someone else. A husband parking the car. Perhaps nobody. Just her, alone. Fleet program, he repeated, letting the words hang in the air. That's commercial sales. Different department entirely. I'm aware, Jessica said. Her voice was steady. Professional. I was told to ask for the luxury fleet manager. According to your website, that's you. Something about her tone irritated Robert. The confidence. The way she stood there like she had every right to his time. He'd seen this before. People who read a few articles online and suddenly thought they understood the business. Yeah, that's me. He tapped the clipboard twice against his palm. Fleet sales start at 25 units minimum. Enterprise clients only. We're talking established corporations with verified credit lines and purchasing departments. He looked at her directly now, making sure she understood. Maybe you're thinking of our certified pre-owned lot. That's across the street. They handle individual sales, financing options, stuff like that. Jessica didn't move, didn't blink, just kept looking at him with those steady eyes. I'm thinking of 340 vehicles, she said quietly. Mixed luxury and executive class. Delivered across multiple states. And that's when Robert Patterson made the biggest mistake of his life. Robert's jaw tightened. 340 vehicles. He'd heard some wild stories before, but this was reaching new levels of absurd. He forced a smile that didn't touch his eyes. Right, 340. He nodded slowly, the way you'd nod at a child explaining their imaginary friend. Well, for a fleet order that size, we need to see corporate documentation, proof of funds, authorized purchasing agreements. I have preliminary contract in my folder, Jessica said, tapping the leather portfolio under her arm. But first, I'd like to see the limited edition model in your private showcase, the one listed at $380,000. Robert's smile vanished completely. The Aurora edition. They received it 2 weeks ago with strict instructions to only show qualified buyers. Last month, he'd sold one to a hedge fund manager who paid cash without blinking. And this woman wanted to see it? You want to see the Aurora edition? It wasn't a question. It was disbelief wrapped in what little professional courtesy he had left. That's a serious vehicle. Maybe we should start with something more... He caught himself. Something more practical. We got excellent SUVs, sedans, even some hybrid models that are really popular right now. I'd like to see the Aurora edition, please, Jessica repeated. Robert checked his watch, made sure she saw him do it. 3:15. His real appointment was at 3:30. He was wasting time on someone who probably couldn't afford the floor mats on that car. Look, he said, dropping some professional veneer. That vehicle requires an appointment. We don't just pull it out for. He paused, searching for diplomatic language. For casual viewing. I'm not viewing casually, Jessica said. I'm evaluating your inventory for a corporate partnership. Sure she was. Robert sighed loud enough for her to hear. Fine, let me see what I can do. He walked toward the private showcase, deliberately slow, hoping she'd get the message and leave. She didn't. She followed 3 steps behind, silent except for the click of her heels. He unlocked the glass partition and gestured inside. The Aurora edition sat under focus lighting. Matte black exterior, custom interior. A vehicle built for people who'd already bought everything else. This model starts at $380,000, Robert said, his voice taking on that rehearsed quality. Most buyers finance through our premium lending partners. We got rates as low as 4.9% for qualified applicants, though approval typically requires credit scores above 750 and verified annual income of at least $500,000. He glanced at her, waiting for reality to set in. Now, the payment on something like this, even with excellent credit, you're looking at around $6,000 a month for 72 months. That's before insurance, which on a vehicle this class runs about $800 monthly. So all in, you're at almost $7,000 a month just to keep it on the road. Jessica walked around the car slowly, studying it. She ran her fingers along the hood, checked the wheel rims, opened the driver's door, and looked inside. Robert crossed his arms. His patience was officially gone. Jessica closed the door and stepped back. "I'll take it," she said. Robert blinked. "I'm sorry. I'll purchase this vehicle today." For a moment, Robert just stared at her. Then that condescending smile returned, wider now. "Sure, absolutely." He pulled out his tablet, tapped a few times. "Let's just start with a credit application. I'll need your full legal name, social security number, current employment information, annual income." "I'm paying cash," Jessica said. Robert's finger froze mid-tap. "Cash? Yes." He let out a breath that was almost a laugh. "Ma'am, this is a $380,000 vehicle. When you say cash, I'm assuming you mean financing with a large down payment, because even with excellent credit." Jessica reached into her portfolio and pulled out a single card, matte black, no visible numbers, no logos, just weight and silence. She placed it on the desk between them with a soft click. The American Express Centurion card, the card that supposedly required you to charge at least $250,000 annually just to qualify. The card that came by invitation only. Robert picked it up, held it to the light, then he started laughing. It started as a chuckle, then built into something louder. Genuine amusement mixed with disbelief. Other salespeople looked over. The couple from the SUV section turned toward the sound. "Oh, come on." Robert was shaking his head now, barely able to contain himself. "Really? A black Centurion card? You?" Jessica's face remained perfectly neutral. "Lady, I've been in this business 15 years. You can buy these knockoffs on Amazon for $30. They even sell them at novelty shops now." He held it up, showed it to Derek, a younger salesman who'd wandered over to see what was funny. "Look at this. These scammers are getting bold." Derek glanced at the card, then at Jessica, looking uncomfortable. "Robert, maybe we should just what?" Robert tossed the card back across the desk. It skidded slightly, stopped inches from the edge. "I've seen this scam before. Someone walks in, tries to look important, pulls out a prop card, hopes we'll process it, and maybe they can grab some information or waste enough of our time that we miss real customers." A small crowd had formed now. The couple from the SUV section, an older salesman named Harold. Even the receptionist had stood up from her desk to see what the commotion was about. "I don't know what kind of game you're playing," Robert continued, his voice carrying across the showroom now. "But I've got actual clients with actual money who actually deserve my time." Jessica picked up her card, held it between two fingers. Her hand was steady. Her voice was quieter than his, but somehow it cut through everything. "So you're refusing to process my payment. I'm refusing to entertain whatever this is." Robert gestured at her, at the card, at the whole situation. "Look, I don't know if you're running some kind of social media stunt or what, but I have real work to do." Jessica took one step back, pulled out her phone, and began scrolling through her contacts. Robert watched her, irritated that she wasn't leaving. "Did you hear me?" I said. "I heard you." Jessica's fingers stopped scrolling. She tapped a name, held the phone to her ear. The phone rang twice. Someone answered. "Angela," Jessica said, her voice perfectly level. "It's Jessica." Robert rolled his eyes. Of course she was calling someone. Probably a friend she'd rehearsed this whole performance with. He turned to Derek. "Go check on the Hendersons in service. Make sure their vehicle's ready." "Robert, I think maybe. Just go." Jessica's voice cut through their conversation, clear and businesslike. "Yes, I'm at the Riverside Luxury Motors location now, the flagship dealership." Robert glanced at her, barely listening. She was probably complaining to a friend, maybe planning to write a bad review online. He'd handle that if it came up. His sales record would speak for itself. Cancel the partnership, Jessica said. All of it. The showroom went silent. Not quiet. Silent. The kind of silence that happens when sound suddenly becomes vacuum. The $2 billion fleet contract with Riverside Luxury Motors terminated immediately. The color drained from Robert's face like someone had opened a valve. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. Wait, he finally managed. Wait, what? Jessica held up one finger, not rudely, just indicating she wasn't finished. She continued speaking into her phone, her voice never wavering. Yes, notify legal, notify procurement, send the cancellation to their board. And Angela, prepare a press statement about why we're ending negotiations with Riverside Luxury Motors. Hold on. Robert stepped forward. His confident posture had collapsed into something that looked like panic. Hold on, you can't. The contract on my portfolio, Jessica said into the phone, ignoring him completely. I'm looking at them now. 340 vehicles across 14 states. Total value $2.1 billion over the 5-year term. Yes, cancel all of it. Harold had gone white. Derek stood frozen halfway to the service department. The couple from the SUV section had their phones out now, recording. Robert's hands were shaking. Who are you talking to? Who is this? Jessica lowered the phone slightly, covered the microphone with her palm. My chief operating officer. We were scheduled to sign the final contracts with your company on Friday. She paused. We were? No. Robert shook his head rapidly. No. You can't. There's no way you're. One moment, Angela. Jessica looked directly at Robert. I'm sorry, you were saying? Robert's tablet slipped from his hands and clattered on the floor. His mouth worked soundlessly. Actually, Angela, Jessica said, returning to her call. I need to go. Send me the draft statement in an hour. And make sure Lawrence Chen's name is on the distribution list. He's their regional director. We sat on a panel together 6 months ago. He should hear this from us before his board does. She ended the call. The silence that followed was deafening. Robert's hands fumbled for his phone. His fingers were shaking so badly, he nearly dropped it twice before managing to open the browser. He typed her name. Jessica. Wait, she'd said Jessica to whoever was on the phone. Jessica what? What was her last name? What's your name? His voice came out strangled. Your full name. You didn't ask for it before. Please. The word cracked. Please, just what's your name? Jessica Williams. Robert's fingers moved frantically across the screen. JSSICA-WLLIMS. The search results loaded. His eyes went wide. Jessica Williams, CEO and founder, Williams Tech Solutions. His thumb scrolled. Each line was worse than the last. Net worth, $8.3 billion. Scroll. Forbes 40 under 40. Scroll. Youngest self-made female tech billionaire. Scroll. Williams Tech Solutions announces expansion into automotive fleet management. The phone slipped from his hands. It hit the floor face up, the screen still glowing with her Wikipedia page. Her Forbes profile picture staring up at him. The same face that was standing 3 feet away, watching him realize what he'd done. Oh my God. Robert's voice was barely a whisper. Oh my God, you're Jessica Williams. Yes. Her tone hadn't changed. Still calm, still level. I'm Jessica Williams. The woman you just called a scammer. The woman whose card you said was a $30 Amazon knockoff. The woman you threatened to have security remove. I didn't know. Robert was stammering now, his carefully constructed authority completely shattered. I thought you were. You didn't think, Jessica interrupted. Her voice was quieter now, but somehow it cut deeper. You assumed. There's a difference. The showroom doors burst open. Lawrence Chun came through at nearly a run, his phone still in his hand, his face flushed red. He'd been in a meeting across town when Harold's emergency text came through. Just 3 words. Jessica Williams here. Crisis. He stopped 5 feet inside the showroom, his eyes scanning frantically until they landed on Jessica. His expression went through 3 distinct phases in less than 2 seconds: confusion, recognition, and absolute horror. "Miss Williams." He was breathing hard. "Miss Williams, I just got a message that..." He looked around the showroom, at Robert standing there pale and trembling, at the gathered crowd, at the Aurora edition still sitting in the private showcase behind him. "I don't understand. The contract was supposed to be signed Friday. Everything was finalized." Was, Jessica said simply. That single word hit Lawrence like a physical blow. His face went from red to white in an instant. His voice came out strangled. "What do you mean, was?" "The contract was supposed to be signed Friday," Jessica confirmed. "It's not anymore." Robert made a sound, something between a whimper and an attempt at words. He stepped forward, hands raised like he was approaching a wild animal. "Mr. Chun, I can explain. There was a misunderstanding. I didn't realize who she was." Lawrence turned to look at Robert. Just looked at him. Didn't say a word. But the look itself could have shattered glass. Robert stopped talking immediately. Actually took a step backward. "You didn't realize," Lawrence repeated, his voice dangerously quiet. "You didn't realize that the woman standing in our showroom asking about our executive fleet program might be the CEO we've been courting for 8 months. The CEO whose signature was worth $2 billion. I thought..." Robert tried. "Don't." Lawrence held up one hand, his eyes never leaving Robert's face. "Don't say another word. Not one word." Within the hour, more executives arrived. Apologies were offered. Desperate pleas were made. But Jessica's decision was final. She'd come to evaluate their service standards, and Robert had given her exactly the answer she needed. By the time she walked out of that showroom, Robert Patterson's 15-year career was over. By the end of the week, Riverside Luxury Motors stock had dropped 12%. Lawrence Chin spent 3 months trying to salvage other partnerships before eventually resigning. The company implemented mandatory bias training. They hired diversity consultants. They issued public apologies. But the damage was done. Because Jessica was right. This became a case study. Business schools taught it. Corporate training programs referenced it. And every salesperson in every luxury showroom across the country learned one very expensive lesson. Never assume you know someone's worth by looking at them. Some mistakes cost careers. Some cost millions. This one cost billions. And it all started with one laugh, one assumption, one moment when someone decided that a black woman couldn't possibly belong. Jessica Williams drove home that afternoon, knowing she'd done exactly what she came to do. She'd evaluated their service standards. She'd seen who they really were, and she'd made her decision. The press statement went out within hours. By the next morning, every major business publication was running the story. Billionaire CEO cancels $2 billion deal after discrimination at luxury dealership. But for Jessica, it wasn't about revenge. It was about something far more important. It was about showing that respect isn't negotiable. That dignity isn't something you earn by proving you have money. That every person who walks through your door deserves to be treated like they matter, because they do. Every single one of them. And that's a lesson that apparently cost $2 billion to learn. If this story made you think twice about assumptions and the real cost of prejudice, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Drop a comment below. Have you ever been underestimated because of how you looked? Let's talk about it. New stories every week that will make you think.